pretty darn close. The newly signed 26 Rising giving another point on the board there for the group. And just to touch on that last match real quick before heading into the last match of the day, let's just start off with something that was brought up in the pre-show, which was the map pick. Becky, you brought it up. Did Breeze play out to your expectations?
I think it really did. I mean, 26 Rising really showed that between Angel as well as Kaz, they had a phenomenal sense of how to play a lot of those long range angles that Breeze is so famously known for. And they just ended up being able to get the better out of a lot of those situations where those were so prevalent. It makes sense to me that they were able to shore that one up, bring it home, signed, sealed, delivered to 26 Rising's doorstep.
Played out the map very well, and then also had a bit of an MVP there, Gompers. Angel on
Yeah.
Neon. Pretty cracked, right?
Absolutely correct. I mean, they were top fragging like it was I could say second neon nature. It literally felt like it was pretty easy for them to play Neon, run it down, get picks left and right. It was, I mean, that's what you want out of a duelist.
Yeah, aggression, tenacity, speed, all those things, I guess. And it worked out very well. So as I said, they do another point on the board, putting them very firmly into the top of the group. And now we get to move on to our last best of one of the day. It's going to be Moonshot versus EQ. I think we're going with Cerise. Perhaps they'll come in and yell at us, but we're going to go with that one. And this, another, I guess, combination of teams that we're kind of a little bit more in the dark about, but we do have their information from today, basically, to give us a little bit more insight into what's been happening. So both teams have won a match and then lost a match, and both teams did lose a match against Dart Monkeys. Now, Dart Monkeys being a two-time champions of Academy, Game Changers Academy. They're a pretty good team, so I'm not sure how much we can read into that, but I guess we can say that EQ Cerise took a few more maps, I believe, Gompers. So does that, does that spur anything in your mind? Do you think that means they're going to be able to win this one against their final opponent?
I believe. Ah, man, dude, these pickups are hard at this grouping stage, dude. I have no idea who's going to win what. I've never been so clueless in my life. There's so many new teams, and that's not a bad thing. I get surprised every single time I see new names coming up in, like, the Game Changers Academy because of the fact that we kind of, like, opened up how many teams could play. So, in general, I'm just like, okay, more information that I can put in my notebook for players, and under the occasion, they come around next time. Ask me next time, and my pick'ems will be chef's kiss, okay?
Okay, exactly. As I said, that's kind of the nice thing about a tournament like this. Today, we're like, well, I'm not so sure. A couple of months from now, it's like, no, this team, absolutely, this player, absolutely is going to win. So it's developments. We do have the map chosen and ready to go. So let's actually bring that up on screen. So Becky has a little bit more information to discuss yet again. So we got Ascent being chosen. So what do you think about that, Becky?
I mean, this is kind of interesting. Both of these teams have very similar score lines in their wins and losses here, and I think it's going to be safe to say the Dart Monkeys are going to kind of secure the 3-0 in this group stage, as they are going to be going up 2-0 against the 0-2 Angels of Mischief. So just not the correct day and the correct time for Angels of Mischief. But now I think that Moonshot and EQ Cerise, based on their score lines against both of those teams that they've had to play against in this group, and going on to kind of such a level playing field baseline map like Ascent that so many players are used to playing and is the very common best of one map, I do think that we're kind of in for a very back and forth game. Like, we've been seeing them all day on broadcast, but I am anticipating for this one to be, in particular, quite close based on score lines on the day for both of these squads.
I think that's fair to take some information from that. One thing that I think we do have to really touch on a little bit more, and you kind of briefly touched on it, is that this is kind of the decider of who's going to make it or break it, right? So Dart Monkey is pretty much assured, but top two are going to be getting out of a group. So it actually really does come down to this. So Gompers, what do you think about that? I mean, is this going to be more of a test of mental, perhaps? Like, who's actually going to be able to perform so on the line?
I feel like it's always a game for the mental, man. This game is, in general, trying not to lose your mind playing Valorant is always a feat. And number two, you know, playing this and then it kind of trying not to let the mental really get away from you. I don't know. We've seen like almost OTs across like the 2 games that we've seen. To be honest with you, I think we're going to see somewhat of the same thing. I don't think this game is going to be close, and I definitely think this is going to be super hard on the mental. But you know, it's all about uplifting yourself and your team.
Yeah, hopefully, well, I mean, hopefully both of them, right? But only one can actually go on to tomorrow and then perhaps even on to Sunday as well. So we're going to find out which one it is as we head into Agent Select and give it over to the casters.
Oh, and I think Agent Select is going to be the part where we learn the most about how this is going to end up shaking down, especially because, I mean, this is a map where you can go for a lot of comfort picks, so I'm excited to see if we see any of those.
I think we will. A Neon, maybe? No.
A Neon?
Oh.
I'd love to see a Neon again. I would also love to see the Yoru, but I feel like that's bait.
And the
That's playing with
Reyna
my
and the
heart.
Neon?
I don't appreciate it.
No.
Yeah, okay, just gonna go ahead with the Sova. It's
I'm
fine.
used to getting baited. It's okay. In Valorant, in real life, everywhere, you name it. You name it.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Okay, so for the side of Moonshot, we have a lot of players who have played in previous roles for a bunch of different teams recently, and it'll be kind of interesting to see how those are changing up. And I have notes here that Talo, Snacky, and Airy are core from the FA team Computer Friends previously, so somebody you might recognize the name of in some recent GCA history, while a lot of them have played on teams such as NBG, Aftermath, and Uplift. So definitely not strangers to the scene, whereas EQ Cerise is definitely a little bit more of a kind of wild card for us.
Yeah. Overall, the Astra is, I wouldn't say an interesting pick. It's just been out of the meta for so long. Like, seeing it come back is a little different on a map like Ascent. But I think the Astra is going to play and fare out really well in a composition like this one, especially with that Killjoy util. We know the combinations that we used to see with the Killjoy, Molly, and the gravitational pull. So maybe that's something that we can look forward to. The KO is going to be pretty harsh in terms of that Killjoy util. So mostly just trying to avoid, you know, these circumstances.
Yeah, and the differences between these two comps is quite interesting. We are going for that utility from the Killjoy instead of the reliability of gunpowder from the chamber, which I think is going to be kind of interesting and definitely leads into some kind of like defaulted map control. Like we can already see Yeji going ahead and throwing down that alarm bot in mid so that they don't have to dedicate a whole player towards that area. And that's kind of it's a very readable play. It's something that if you're going to see a Killjoy be picked up, you can almost 100% anticipate that alarm bot is going to be on that part of the map and just deciding how to play around it. Though you could say the same thing for the chamber in a lot of ways, I suppose.
I agree full-heartedly. Whoever wins this pistol, I guess I would say in reality, it depends on, you know, how well they're going to try to fare out here, if they can take all these players out pretty flawlessly, or if things don't work out the way they planned it to. Airy already throwing that boombot down in mid and getting spotted.
Yeah, that alarm bot doing exactly what it is meant to do. That boombot also doing what it's meant to do, trying to gather that bit of information. So far, not able to see anything just yet as Mona gets ready with that recon bolt to see if mid needs a little bit more information. But the rotations coming out from Moonshot are saying that B site, now that we know that that's exactly where that Killjoy is hanging out, we maybe don't even want to mess with it. So dark cover, the Pain Shells and Prowler are really opening up the space here for A site to beat the take. But nice shots coming out from Nabichu, finding a lot of kills, and EQ doing a lot of damage as Snacky the only one remaining for Moon.
Ooh. Yeah, tons of damage. Nice shot darts too there for EQ.
30 seconds
Cerise. And have a big smile on their face there for Snacky. One more left, 17 health. Nina, yeah, looking for it. A Neen, or you could say.
I think I don't... When people have the backwards names,
Right?
I never know if you want your name to be pronounced backwards or forwards, and I get so confused. But usually I feel like the capital letter at the end is usually a good indicator that you actually want it to be the other way. Every once in a while. Sometimes people surprise me, though. Just know that it stresses me out a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like that's the whole purpose, man. To just play with your emotions.
You know, to be fair, if I was a player here, the Guardian shots through the wall, leaving Kelki at 1 HP. Oh, and the Recon Bolt to finish it all up. Nice kind of default. I mean, that's something that you see a lot of Sovas do, but you rarely see anything come of it. And nice start to this round.
Yeah, shots completely fired. Already
I mean,
taking the first one.
We were kind of talking about this on the desk before. We were like, we don't know a lot about EQ Cerise, but like based on the things that we've been able to see about these players in this team, there's a chance that they're just like secretly cracked.
Pretty much, okay. Some stuff getting deployed out there. More opportunity here for Moonshot to try to get these picks as they move up towards that A long. A main here. Bored. I'm pretty bored here in general. Just sitting waiting for these players to push out. Once the push out comes, it's going to be Navichu. Yeah, taking this down. Cleaning everything up here. 2-0 there from EQ.
3 kills with the Marshall. Okay, we see you, Navichu. And a 5-0 to start off for EQ Cerise. But now they're going to have to fight down Moonshot. Full Vandal and Phantom weaponry for that squad. Alarm bot going to be deployed again once towards mid, which is going to be the thing to hold that area of the map down. And the rest of the squad here thinking that they're going to go try to tussle towards B-side again, even though that didn't go exactly well for Moonshot previously.
Oh, nice lineup. I wouldn't even expect that. Already information given. They already know 2 players are left on that site there for Moonshot. I mean, here comes the entry. Are they going to be able to make it in time as that dart really giving away that location?
Oh, and a nice change to that Sheriff allows for boredom to find that pick onto Jai. Talo trying to find the shots and fortunately goes for that reload. That's enough for Talo to fall to Mona there. And now Kelki, only player remaining. The shots that have just come through have been so good for UQ Cerise, but in the end, not good enough to beat Kelki.
Ooh. Kalki. I've seen their name before. Not necessarily sure as to where I saw them in, but I do remember Kalki. Here it is. Here it is. It was in X Serenity. That's where I saw them from. That was pretty familiar.
Yeah, and also was previously with NBG.
Yeah, Nightblood. I believe that's Nightblood. Yeah.
Yeah, Nightblood Gaming. And it's kind of just playing a lot of different flex roles. Most of the players for Moonshot, notably, are considered to be flex players or have been FA in a lot of flex slots in recent times. So a little bit difficult to tell exactly what roles they're going to be playing. And unfortunate that despite winning that last round, are stuck on these lighter pistols and just struggle here. But Airy, nice picks there. One with that nade and one with that Sheriff as Mona just peeking out alongside that Jet. Once again, it is up to Kelki versus the world, but the shock dart from the top of Generator is enough to do the little bit of zaps to that goth hairstyle and take out that player here. Now we're seeing EQ Cerise continue to just take down some of these rounds. Even that round that Moonshot were able to win really did just kind of come down to Kelki. So despite that being the one that they won, it was still really close and pretty favorable to EQ Cerise.
Yeah, EQ Cerise, I mean, they're putting up good numbers. We were discussing like the history of EQ Cerise and like, okay, well, these players, you know, obviously we've heard of Anine. That's a name that kind of clicks with me. I'm sure you do too. But it's like I'm seeing so many new players here that are literally giving me like so much love for them because of how well they're playing. It's insane. Like half these players I don't think I've heard of in a while. And I mean, they're coming in. They're giving a really good showing. It's like yeah, hell yeah, I'm going in ranked and I'm gonna get Radiant, whatever, and I'm coming into here and I'm gonna play just the same. So I mean, they're playing pretty immaculate here for EQ.
We'll see. I mean, both of these teams, again, wins over Angels of Mischief, losses to Dart Monkeys, and their score lines with their losses to Dart Monkeys are really the only difference. They both win over Angels of Mischief 13-4. So
Yeah.
their score lines there pretty much exactly the same. Whereas to Dart Monkeys, EQ Cerise were able to get 3 extra rounds off of Dart Monkeys, whereas Moonshot only went 13-2. So that could be just that little bit of a tell as we're starting this off in insane speed. Nightfall, making Simona can't hear anything and is tagged. And Aries just on the prowl. Those trails do lead the side of Moonshot right to those EQ Cerise players.
Spike planted.
Boredom with the op, getting prepared to peek out. That was a little bit dangerous. I mean, even though you have the op, you know, pretty confident with it. You can see. Never mind. Boredom looking good.
Oh. Watch this! Immediately to fall. And now only Snacky remains all of a sudden. This was such a good place for Moonshot, and all of a sudden it just gets taken apart. And how about you able to resurrect that robot? The spray does not connect for Snacky. But the shots do for Navachu, and EQ Cerise once again find themselves another round onto the board.
Oh, rightfully so. Oh, they just played that beautifully. Even with the op, I would have thought that they wouldn't have been able to get anything. They were rushing really, really aggressively there from Boredom. Boredom trying to kind of push their way through and then almost getting picked off. That was like that indicator for me. They're not going to get this. This feels like almost impossible, considering the fact that, okay, tons of that pressure is being put over from Moonshot, but things ended up working out for EQ Cerise. Now, this timeout coming in, and Moonshot, they could find, you know, some pretty good reasonings, some really nice adaptations. I feel like overall, the only way you're going to be able to take EQ Cerise out is, I don't know, maybe... Actually, that's a great question. I feel like they just quite literally smack anything that Moonshot's trying to bring over down.
That's kind of how it is feeling. And do you think that any amount of that is really having to do with this potentially more defensive-sided team composition that EQ Cerise have brought?
I feel like maybe so. Partially, for sure. I think the KO needs to be put into heavy action a little bit more, especially that fade. Like, there's so much initiator util that could be used in cohesion with that raise util to kind of push back these corners to make sure that, hey, there's damage at least coming out in return for our entry to come in. And it's more so that pushback that isn't being created because those suppressions don't seem like they're coming out too heavy for me. I'm not seeing a lot of that fade util being really heavily used other than that one round that Kelki was able to clutch up. But it's more so situations like those.
Shutting them down.
Very interesting insight, and excited to see if that is something that Moonshot were able to figure out here as well. Ooh, I thought that was going to be a double collat for Boredom too. Unfortunately, not able to get that. I mean, fortunately for Jai, I suppose. Nicely staying safe despite both walking up that catwalk, and you gotta know that that Jet is probably prowling with that operator, and Snacky's waiting for the show, but the jump peak is going to keep Boredom safe there, and the push up through mid will get spotted by that alarm bot once again, and the prowl is going to be more than enough for Boredom to continue to rack up these kills with this operator in hand. A friend to stand for backup behind there, continuing to search for those shots.
Oh no, run!
Spike down. Defender
Oh, this is so nerve-wracking. Boredom going completely insane on that. Oh, yeah, right through the wall. Okay, that's completely unfair. Aerie has to try to at least return something with that pain shell. But something I want to talk about is like, I mean, already, it's just so many op shots coming through. Moonshot having such a difficult time at trying to get themselves through this catwalk. Now they're coming back out and around from the A side, even though it was cleared for them to be able to take. But now they're just stalling for some time here.
Yeah, and this is a spooky amount of time. It is in the red. Those footsteps are going to let Navachu know where players are hiding. Thankfully, that generator is going to keep Aerie safe. That bomb is down. Good for at least 300 credits as Kelly finds a kill. Aerie quick to fall. The turn and burn across all these different angles on the site are going to be more than enough for Navachu and EQ Cerise to continue to keep a hold on this game.
Yeah. I think I did hear a Razor, right? Being
Yep,
used?
unfortunately, I agree.
That hurts, man. That actually hurts. Yeah, with that ult down, Cerise did a lot. And you know, we were talking about actually what Moonshot could change in order to gain this lead. Boredom is literally just running everybody down with the operator. Number one. Number two, Nina did an amazing job at throwing out that suppression early off in that round to push back the players down on A site. So Moonshot ended up actually going towards mid instead of that A. And it was not only that, but then again, like, at the end of the round, just shutting down that showstopper that they could have used this round to be able to give them that advantage here from Moonshot. So overall, EQ Cerise, I mean, they got the strategies down.
Just kind of hanging out in this nebula. Really admiring space and waiting for that flash drive to come through. See if they can catch anybody peeking, but that's just not going to be the case. Fragment grenade is going to keep players at bay and do a lot of damage to area alongside that swarm grenade. But nobody is hanging out. I feel like we used the grenade and the boombot to clear wine when we probably only needed to use one of those pieces of utility, but making sure that they're safe. Just got to be careful about how much utility is being used. If you're going to go for the rotation, you got to have something to hold on and get you through the rest of this round.
Oh, scary here. Shuri is more so of that careful spot. Airy is going to find out pretty shortly as to why they need to be a little bit more careful here.
Oh, and the flash does come out, but thankfully they're in front of it, so they try to go for the double peek. Just not quite going to be able to get it, as the rest of the team pushing on to site does allow for a ton of kills. Speaking of a ton of kills, 2 for 1 there. Hunter's Fury doing a lot of damage, and all of a sudden 2v2 based on 2 kills picked up from that bow. On this Sova, Mona in a rough spot, tries to relocate, knows one is low, but Kelly's going to be able to finally secure that one, find Moonshot, that second one. Beautiful patience, and it really is Kelly every single time who's been able to find 3 kills and secure these 2 points that Moonshot have been able to find.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Kelly, second time that they had that 1v2, 1v3 type of situation, they were able to carry things out, now winning that round for Moonshot. But once again, you can't always heavily rely on, you know, that one player to give you that advantage. Of course, it wasn't really Kelky that put themselves in that advantage. It was more so, okay, everybody took these picks and Kelly was the last one alive, so they had to take that clutch of situation. I do think, though, it's good that Kelly is pretty heavily reliable in moments like these, because then maybe next time, you know, we'll kind of feel a little bit more secure in putting Kelly in that type of situation.
That's something I wouldn't have initially thought of leaning towards, but it does make sense. If you have a player who's feeling comfortable and is, like, definitely kind of feeling themselves on the day, just go ahead and say, hey, yeah, we'll put you in more situations where we'll rely on you and see if we can get some extra equity out of that. And a nice little play there, the high-low from those 2 players does find that pick onto Navichu and allow for this Nightfall to come on through. Those trails going to lead players to believe somebody's hanging out towards tree. Unfortunately, Airy runs out of that clip, and Nina finds those shots immediately after. EQ Cerise down a member compared to Moonshot. The bomb is down. The ball is in their court now as they have to find their way onto site. So far, all of these A pushes have really gone, or started to go at least, Moonshot's away, at least with their ability to get onto site. As Snacky, nice little prowl around, finds one. Boredom, trying to find more than one, but instead it's going to be Kelly to continue to pick up multi-kills time and time again and keep Moonshot in this game.
Yeah, Kelly's going to be a really big factor this game, I feel like. And how do we counter Kelly is the question. Well, you know, majority of the fights that Kelly's picking off are these 1v1s, these isolations that Kelly just continues to win. And not by, I wouldn't say not by plan either. Kelly's just finding themselves in these really, really nice types of situations where it's like, you know, Moonshot isn't even trying to give, I mean, not Moonshot, Cerise isn't even trying to give it away that way, and it just kind of happens where these players aren't too careful with their surroundings, but more so being careful of your surroundings, trying to rely a little bit more on that Sova util to give yourself more so of that information and that advantage. But Cerise getting picked off early these rounds, they're losing a lot of their players and that util that they could use.
Yeah, and I feel like we're seeing Cerise get maybe a little bit too cocky. Like we saw Nabichu just try to go for pushing on towards Wine and get a little bit more of aggressive angles when Nabichu's previously had so much success with just staying and waiting for Moonshot to be the first one to get aggressive. And I appreciate that they're trying to go for a little bit of a switch up, but I mean, now it might be the point, especially with this timeout, saying, hey, rein it back in. Let's try to be a little bit safer. We are on a save round this time as well. So maybe we just go back to what was previously working for us and let Moonshot play into our hand.
Starting up things again, Moonshot. They're definitely looking like they're getting more confident with their plays as things go on. I feel like, you know, the players haven't really been giving Kelly these 1v4s, 1v5s, whatever. Instead, it feels more so that group effort here. Yeah, Ari already giving them that information, not really caring, gonna execute off that, already made that noise, knows that this is the moment that they have to really, you know, push themselves in there.
Oh, an explosive entry. All utility is out, but Ari is down in hell and laying in wait. That bomb is going down as well. They know that we're stuck on a little bit of a save for Cerise. Trying to play in accordance here as Kelly picks up a nice one, getting rid of that robot, and Boredom trying to find nice headshots, finds two. Talo just stuck looking up towards heaven, and Boredom just going absolutely nuts with the knives alongside the rest of the EQ team, and it'll be a thrifty for that EQ Cerise squad.
Where do they find these kids, bro?
I don't know.
Where do they find these kids? Boredom. Oh my goodness. I mean, overall, like, they've been popping off from the beginning with the op, right? Obviously, the Jet kind of fits their role so well, because number one, the Blade Storm comes out and they're popping heads. Number two, the Operator comes out, they're popping heads. Literally anything you give them, I feel like they could have that advantage, and now they're bringing out the Vandal, so we're going to be able to see something completely different out of Boredom. Maybe more of that execution that we're going to see down this B site, because Barrage looks like a pretty aggro push here.
Oh, an aggro push. I mean, Boredom is just being the aggressive Jet that you want to see on your team. Prowls forward, finds that kill, nice little duck back, and now is going to be the one to watch mid alongside this trusty little alarm bot. Oh, whoa, okay. Vengeance for that previous headshot on the last round.
Yeah, nice from Kelly. Kelly's looking for more, though. The Prowler comes out. Nina doesn't actually get spotted. Here comes the flash. Not going to be able to hit through, but is trying to stall for some time there. No peeks out with that flash. Instead, I mean, Nabi gets punished, but a little bit too soon here. The suppression, not gathering that information. So that kind of leaves some security in the minds of Moonshot. They're going to get the spike down. They're going to feel much more secure, especially with the fact that they have some of the extremities being covered by this chamber down towards mid.
Oh, and the lockdown coming out, going for a lot of those lineups, trying to clear out those corners that get left with that lockdown. Two players in Moonshot remaining in the push through, coming alongside the flash drive. Jai is able to find one, but Nina won't allow for it to be any more. And Cerise secure themselves this 7th round that will keep it from being an even half for these two teams.
Winning it out again, Moonshot. No matter how hard they try, Cerise just find a way to bring it back. And once again, bringing into the factor of actually something I want to talk about here. I feel like, you know, most of the time we don't give controllers a lot of due, I guess recognition, because of the fact majority of the time these smokes, they have a lot of impact, but you know, we don't heavily focus on that because it's kind of like a given, right? The smokes being such a heavy factor of the game. But I feel like Nabi has been playing really well into Boredom and how aggressively Boredom plays, right? Hey, smoke this for me, smoke that, gravitational well this, or whatever I need. I want you to be able to give that to me. And I feel like, you know, they're playing real perfect here, just like how we're going to see here from Moonshot. The smoke coming down here in Cat so that Ari can push up and try to take this aggression.
Speaking of aggression, once again, a Boredom continuing to go for those pushes.
Yeah.
And getting rewarded for it just time and time again. And Ari being forced back, isn't able to be that same level of aggression because of this Killjoy utility. And that is kind of going to be a big difference that I think we're going to see between these two teams when we swap, is that, can that chamber really do as much as this Killjoy is doing it, slowing aggression.
Spike down mid. Last
Oh
player
no.
A
Oh.
4K. Not a 4K, but I mean, 4 players
Last round in the
down
half.
in a second. I mean, it kind of has the same vibe, right? Last
Yeah.
round, though. 3 ults, pretty equal. But Airy and Snacky, if we're going to be looking at that, actually, 1 ult orb off. Obviously, on a map like this, it's not very easy to kind of farm these ult orbs. Of course, unless you're on the defensive side. Honestly, right here, it could be good for Moonshot to try to at least farm these here. Yeah, I think Snacky's going for that B side orb.
I feel such sympathy for the mistimed paranoia. Just so close, but so far. Now, new plans here. Pretty much a full push. Just waiting for this chamber to loop back around. Prowlers starting things off, but not able to find too much information. KO ult out, Paranoia coming through, and Mona just going to go ahead with that Hunter's Fury and try to use that to hold players back, and is able to pick up a 1 with it.
Ooh, shots getting fired. Navi looking for more. There comes the first, the second one not there. Snacky eliminates the other. Yeah, a big cleanup here from Cerise. The majority of it was, I mean, that no command working out nice here.
Switching sides.
And then really trying to close out these players, close out the fact that they had this util to use in the first place. But that 9-3, I mean, not looking too good, right? We can see EQ Cerise doing really well on that defense, putting things and pulling them together. And they don't look like they're going to tear apart anytime soon.
Yeah, they had a very nice showing starting off on that defensive side and have a lot of players on their team who've picked up a lot of kills. You can see 3 of them, 14, 14, 14, all looking pretty strong, and Boredom looking so aggressive. So I'm excited to see, with this swap to being on the attacking side, what we're going to see from this Jet.
I think from Boredom on the attack, gosh, gonna go sicko mode. That's all I know for sure. I mean, Boredom's super aggressive.
Speaking of aggressive, full 5, just waiting, all swinging, but it's not enough. Snacky barely takes any damage and is able to get away, taking down that very aggressive Jet. Some shots through the smoke do a little more damage to Snacky, but still staying alive. Dancing around back towards CT, and Moonshot have the agent advantage here, but the bomb going to go down, and this is a really difficult site to get back onto for the defensive side of Moonshot.
Oh, Jai. I don't think they know exactly where, you know, Mona is. Yeah, that shock dart kind of gave it away. No, they still don't.
I mean, it didn't even matter where Mona was in the end because Yeji just, got 3 kills, cleaned everybody up with that ghost. Okay, sure enough. Just funneling all in, and that's a very, very welcome first pistol round 2 win. It gets EQ Cerise 2 double digits here. Yeah. And they're able to go for this buy-up. Moonshot not too far up against the wall to feel like they need to go for an extreme buy, but it looks like Snacky might be debating going for this Marshall and trying to get a few lucky shots.
Yeah, with a 10-3 coming through, the fact that they're buying Phantoms, if you saw on the board, EQ Cerise, they're looking pretty comfortable here, at least this round. The next round, yeah, already shots coming through. They're going to eliminate majority of these players here coming out here from Moonshot. And, I mean, Jai, what are they going to do at this point, right? A classic in hand. Yeah, it's filled with gold, but, I mean, their pockets aren't. So, will it work?
And just like that, once again, able to get that bomb down. Jai does end up finding a kill that's rewarded with being able to pick up a Guardian, but what exactly ends up being the direction here? Trying to see if you can just find some stray kills here and there. Boredom being a little bit too aggressive. Nice turn does allow for Jai to utilize that picked up Guardian. Now trying to push back onto site as that bomb is ticking. Those nebulas are going out, and this is just a rough shot. Do you just go for exit picks here? I mean, the Marshall is not a great weapon to save into the next game.
Oh, yeah, Jai.
Okay.
Lucky enough to pick up a Guardian here, but still not going to be able to, I mean, get much. But I do like what Moonshot had done, and this is what I like to see out of these circles, right?
Yeah.
you know, taking the weapons out of these players from EQ Cerise and using it against them to try to take out as many as you can so that the eco doesn't look too good for the next round. But we're still going to see somewhat of that investment. Mona still buying into that Vandal.
Oh, and a timeout very early on here for the first buy up for Moonshot, just saying, you know what? We're already this far behind. We might as well just use it and try to get ourselves on the right foot. But this seems kind of worrisome. If you don't really understand like the attacking strategies or the variety of attacking strategies that your opponents are going to use, do you think that this is potentially going to be a little bit of a wasted timeout, or do you think there's enough information here?
To be honest with you, I think overall Moonshot, it's going to be hard to digest what exactly could happen. I do think there is a lot of potential. EQ Cerise, right? Moonshot got a lot of picks that round, and I feel like that's what they're talking about. Okay, economy is going to be pretty low here for Cerise. They might force here. So the biggest thing that you want to focus on is being obedient, not playing into the hands of Cerise, and really just taking down that jet, that really big heavy entry that continues to take picks early on in these rounds, those entry frags that really are throwing Moonshot down in the dumps.
Very nice, and they were able to pick up that Phantom from some of those shots that we actually saw Jai be able to pick up. So nicely going to be able to hold on to those alongside the rest of the team here. But for EQ Cerise, they're a little bit all over the board as we would anticipate, but they're also saying we're far enough ahead that we don't really need to worry about things, especially if Boredom doesn't even need the Phantom to get off the first blood of the round.
Oh, yeah, already tons and tons of shots coming down. All Boredom needs is a Phantom, even maybe just a Sheriff to be able to get that entry, because they create that space in a matter of seconds, and space created.
Wow.
Pretty much everything is theirs now. Their name completely written all over it. 12-3, man. What in the world?
12-3, and that was just Moonshot's time out, where Moonshot had full guns. Ouch. I said ouch, and then Snacky immediately went yes, and I don't know if that time... Obviously, that timing doesn't really mean anything, but thank you for confirming, Snacky.
Oh my gosh. No, this is hard. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Snacky pushing up here, yeah, immediately having to back off because of that possible suppression that could have came from.
Boredom doing the aggressive patented dash button play. Immediately greeted by Snacky, who says, we may be hurt last round, but I'm looking to have you hurt into this round. Bucked in the head. Backing up to join the rest of the team. Buddy system employed here. Just trying to see if they can get some shots all through those paper-thin walls as they try to get themselves pushed onto site. Nice shots coming out from that Bulldog. Mona goes down. Hiding in these smokes, laying in wait. Potentially a few too many players for Navichu, but Ari still able to find one back and forth. 1v3, Moonshot bring it all together. A beautiful retake and something that I feel like hopefully isn't too little too late here.
Ooh, no, it's not. They got it. But I feel like in general, in terms of with the round differential, yeah, that tack pause really works out for this round to kind of be able to give them more of that advantage in the upper hand coming into this match point. But overall, right, you're 12-4. There's so many rounds to come about, and it's already come to a position where this is super uncomfortable. Moonshot's mental definitely have to be down at this point. Boredom is feeling on top of the world with the fact that they literally keep W keying it in, and that's the scariest thing. The confidence that's just booming from Cerise.
Yeah, I mean, you say that about Boredom, but like even Nabichu also has the same number of kills.
Yeah.
Is playing Astra. That's just a difficult character to frag on because you have to be so comfortable on that character that you're not spending as much time thinking about, am I in a safe place to go ahead and deploy these smokes or reset these things up? And especially since that nerf, your timings get to be so awkward now. And it's just really impressive to see that that is still something that can be pulled together for Nabichu.
Ooh. Yeah, G. Shooting everybody down this millisecond. That first-hand pick is huge. I mean, they lost their controller here. Now they're going to have to rely on Kelly. Maybe they can get the first shot here to be able to get that 1-to-1 ratio.
Oh, and a nice peek out, actually, from Ari there. Finds Nina. It's a great first shot, great first blood. Also following it up nicely with that pick onto Boredom. This Killjoy lockdown holding at bay. A lot of players, but Moonshot still with a shot at this round here. As the
Spike
bomb
planted.
Post plant, not really the most potent here, as a lot of players funneled in towards the back of that site. Mona gets 2 though,
Last player
brings it to a
standing.
2v2, and now Nabichu the only one remaining, trying to avoid shots through those walls. But Kelly, nice turn, laying in wait, finds that final kill, has Nightfall at the ready, so gonna give that defuse over to that Raze. Keep Moonshot in this just a little while longer, 1 round at a time.
Whew. Things, I mean, starting to look good, right? Kelly having their Nightfall, which is good, and the null command here. Lots of ultimates already coming down on the board as well. If we look here, Snacky, good for, honestly, eco rounds don't happen here for Moonshot. They lose one, they're pretty much out of the game, so it doesn't matter. Whenever Snacky
You just gotta
wants to
force
use it,
over and over again.
yeah, whenever Snacky wants to use it, they can use it. But honestly, at this point, if they continue on this high, you know, Moonshot, they can't lose any players. This is going to be dangerous. If they lose all 4 and they end up winning the round, their economy is going to be in shambles.
I mean, EQ Cerise just has so much wiggle room as well that even if they do lose one and they have to save, they've got a lot of time on the board for them to just, find one win, find some way to push through Moonshot's defense. And Moonshot's just got to be so careful as a result of that fact. And rotation coming through from EQ Cerise, catching Airy in the middle of it, going for a lot of these default pop shots that aren't going to find anybody. And just setting themselves up for this 5v4 where Moonshot have a lot of work for themselves. But Kelly, thankfully, being able to finish off Nabichu, gonna make it a little bit easier. And Jai also finding a kill onto Nina with this push onto site. Slow rotations. We'll see if we can not be caught from behind like has happened in previous rounds here.
Last player standing. One enemy
Getting
remaining.
shot down. It's a 1v1 situation, Becky, and honestly, I'm a little bit afraid they're going to meet up here. And
Oh,
Kelly
no!
not turning around at the perfect moment, and instead really focusing on, I mean, the angles that weren't completely covered.
Yeah, oh, that's a heartbreaking one to be that final moment. Going for that haunt, just trying to get a little bit of information at that pivotal moment. And that's just the worst time to get that peak coming out there. But solid play from EQ Cerise, who do take it all home, 13 to, I believe, 5 to Moonshots.
All right, that is it, actually. Unfortunate, too, because it felt like there was a ball rolling.
Yeah, it was
And
really
then-
starting to come back.
Yeah, just stopped a bit short thanks to an unfortunate 1v1. So that means that Moonshots gave it a shot. But unfortunately, they'll fall a little bit short. So we will have that group taken over by Dart Monkeys, and then EQ Cerise will be the ones to take the second spots. So moving on in this month's Game Changers Academy. So well done to them. And I guess we'll stick on the group for a hot second. And just Gompers, I don't think we're surprised by Dart Monkeys taking the top, right? But now we know a little bit more, having seen EQ Series in action.
Yeah. No, we definitely have seen a little bit more, and I don't know, I feel like Dart Monkeys has some competition here. Overall, this team's looking pretty solid. You're going to have to watch out for the Jet here on EQ. Wow. I'm like, even though I feel like everybody had really good impact, like the entries were like not easy. Like they were pretty hardcore.
Yeah. And Becky, any last thoughts on that last series?
I mean, I think we're highlighting it pretty well, and I think the scorelines say a lot about it too. The entries were really good, but I think this is one of the upsides to picking up something like that Astra instead of something like that Omen. Astra can really deploy 2 smokes, like one after the other, which if you're going for that really hard, fast engage, which we saw Boredom do so many times, having that Astra instead of something like an Omen becomes so important. And we did get to see like that Astra be so instrumental, and it was really impressive to see that even the KDA was showing up very nicely to go along with the more difficult agent to play in a lot of regards.
Well, that's going to round off our discussion for today's matches. That's right. At the end of the day, I know it's very sad, but we do have Saturday and Sunday to play out as well, eventually actually crowning the champion of August. I have to remember for a second, but August's champion. So yeah, that will be starting tomorrow at a slightly different time, guys. Of course, same place, but it's going to be starting. The games will start at 12 p.m. Pacific time, so make sure that you're here at 3 p.m. Eastern, all that good stuff. And we'll be going into the rest of the bracket stage. So best of threes from here on out, single elimination. Got 16 teams still trying their best to make it through, and we'll be casting 3 of those best of threes tomorrow yet again. So for your viewing pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, Gompers and Becky. Hope it was a great time for you guys. I certainly had a great time listening to you all. Hope to see you in the future again very soon. Thank you to Verizon and AimLab for sponsoring Game Changers Academy, of course, as well. And I think that is going to be it. Again, today might be done, but tomorrow starts up again, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Be here on this Twitch channel, and we look forward to more Galorants Valorant tomorrow. See you there.
And imagine a utopia. Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa.